And good morning, Your Honor. Robert Ellman on behalf of Mr. Sullivan on the other case.
Yeah. All right, we're here for a pretrial in 17S00. Is that correct? 1 second. Let's start with the pretrial first.
And Your Honor, I don't know if it would make sense to pass this matter. I've not been able to get in contact with Mr. Sullivan. I do see he's here today. He's the nature of the pretrial in this case is that we were hoping the last time we were here to come up with a global resolution, given his other pending, I believe, a felony matter that's being handled by Mr. Feaster. I do not have an update on that matter from Mr. Feaster. So I guess I don't know if Mr. Sullivan, if you can speak to that, or if Your Honor, I'm sorry?
I have an update. He has a bench warrant in that case for not appearing on October 26th.
I'm going to put you out in a breakout room so you can figure out what you want to do about this case.
Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize.
And I'm going to recall the case of the state of Michigan versus Jeremy Sullivan, case number 17S00061, as well as 21S00830.
Richard McDuffie for the people.
Robert Ellman with and on behalf of Mr. Sullivan on 830, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for the breakout room with Mr. Sullivan. We have discussed it. I did discuss his outstanding warrant in his felony matter and have instructed him on his next steps to get that cleared and move on with that case. Your Honor, that being said, I know this case has been open for a while now, and the ultimate goal, I believe, still is a global resolution that could potentially result in the dismissal of this case. So with that being said, I would ask for another adjournment. If Your Honor is unwilling to give us another adjournment at this time, I guess I would ask for a final settlement conference.
Thank you. Ms. McDuffie?
Your Honor, I understand that it is no fault of Mr. Ellman's that we are still here attempting to resolve this case. I'm concerned because Mr. Sullivan has had multiple bench warrants in both of these courts going back at least to April or so. So I don't know what it is. I know he might have been in custody at some point in some other facility, but it's very difficult for us to try to get this resolved when we can't keep track of him. So I don't have an issue with the adjournment, but whatever it's going to take for Mr. Sullivan to show up, I hope that can happen.
Thank you. Ms. White, what is your plan for the show cause?
Well, I have talked to Mr. Sullivan about the payment arrangements, and he does wish to get back on a payment plan. So that's our plan for the show cause. He's asking this court to put him back on a payment plan. And he does apologize to the court for missing the last hearing. He said that he somehow got everything mixed up.
He's supposed to be paying $100 on the 22nd of each month.
Yes, I did make him aware of that.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please turn on your screen.
Hang on, I gotta figure out.
Why haven't you been making your payments, sir?
I was actually unaware that I was already set up on a payment plan.
I don't know how that could be. I don't understand that answer.
Yeah. Okay.
You were here when we talked on July 19th of 2022. And at that point, you said that you wanted to pay $100 per month. So I'm not understanding that answer at all.
Well, I didn't know that it was still I didn't know it was still going. If I did, I would have paid it. And that's the thing.
Like, still go until you have paid off the debt, sir.
Okay.
Good night.
My apologies.
This is my last adjournment on this case. This needs to be resolved by the time we get back here, or we can just schedule it for a final settlement conference and go from there. In addition, if he has not gotten his warrant taken care of, then we may have to look at other remedies. make sure that he does get that warrant taken care of. So, sir, you need to get that taken care of before your next court date and come up with whatever resolution you're going to come up with.
Okay.
I'll adjourn it until December the 18th, 2023 at 9 a.m.
Your Honor, I apologize. I have a Zoom hearing in 14-4 at 9 a.m. on the 18th. Is there any way we could even set this for 9:30 or 10 o'clock?
Come in at 9:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, are you adjourning the show calls also?
Yes, both of them will be adjourned to that date. Sir, you should have one payment in before that time also.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good night.
Well.
Thank you.
Victor Carrillo. I have 1, 2. He pleaded to 2 and 1's dismissed.
We will dismiss this today, Judge.
And he's
We swore him in last.
all right. Come forward. We now call 2 cases, cause numbers 21-38484 and 21-38485. The state of Texas versus Victor Manuel Carrillo Ramirez. And there is a third case that's pending, 38486, which will be dismissed. That's indecency with a child. These other 2 are similarly aggravated sexual assault of children, correct?
Yes, John.
And are you Victor Carrillo? All right. And you have a translator here who is, I've worked with this lady in the past, and I know you are not only licensed, but quite fluent in Spanish and English, and you have been an experienced translator for Spanish and English in this court, other courts for several years.
Yes.
And raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly and correctly interpret for the court and the attorneys and the defendant all of the proceedings in this case into the language that the defendant understands? You will repeat those statements made by the defendant into the English language to the best of your skill and judgment, so help you God.
Yes.
And also, you promise not to influence or attempt to influence or give personal views regarding any part of the proceedings or the evidence presented in this hearing to the defendant. In other words, you will translate accurately, so help you God.
Yes.
And please tell us your full name and how the licenses that you have for interpretation.
My license number is 2434. It expires in June 2025.
Of this year?
I have worked. Oh,
Next year. Of
in
what
2
year?
years, actually.
In 2 years.
In 2 years.
2025?
22. Yes. I have worked in all 4 settings, from jury selection to sentencing, in several counties, all over Texas. Order, I have worked for lawyers and negotiations, had some legal translation. For my study purposes.
Good, okay. We are going to move forward, and the defendant has pleaded guilty earlier to the indictments in 21-38484 and 38485, which charged the defendant with the first-degree felonies of aggravated sexual assault of a child. It is the same victim alleged in each case, and it appears to be two separate acts of sexual assault on the same day.
Yes, sir.
To the same child.
The age of the victim, Your Honor, was 13 at the time. Let the court know.
All right. The child victim was 13 years of age at the time.
Yes, sir.
And do you understand, Mr. Carrillo, that a conviction in one or more of any felony offense in Texas and the United States can subject you to deportation and adversely affect your ability to be a citizen of the United States of America? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you a citizen of the United States?
Estoy ciudadano de Estados Unidos.
No. Okay. Well, like I said, to the defendant before, the United States welcomes immigrants, and all of us, except I guess Native Americans, are immigrants, a product of immigration. But we are expected to follow the law, follow the rules, live honestly, harm no one, respect each other. You have been charged and pleaded guilty to two very serious offenses against a child. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The agreement in this case is that whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 35 years in prison. So you are looking at, in each case, a sentence of no less than 5, nor more than 35 years in prison. And is deferred or unadjudicated probation even an option?
It's an option, Your Honor, only if the court makes a affirmative finding it's the best interest of the victim in this case.
Okay. Yeah, and you do have an option that the court can consider. You could be placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation for up to 10 years in length in each case. Regular probation is not allowed under the law for this type of case.
Correct.
But you do have the option for deferred or unadjudicated probation. That's where you're not found guilty, so long as you follow the terms and conditions of probation. And at the end, if you do well, the cases are dismissed. That is an option the court has to consider, along with no probation and a sentence of no less than 5 up to 35 years in prison in each case. But the sentences in each of these cases, whatever I sentence, will run concurrently.
Judge, we have filed a motion for 2 consecutive sentences for stacking, and I don't see any agreement that was given away when the plea was taken.
What do you say?
I was not aware of that, Your Honor. That wasn't the agreement we had. And I can't remember what we put on the record when he pled.
I just don't have that in my notes from the prior prosecutor, but if we have not, we were going to ask that it be consecutive. So I think we need to know that.
This occurred?
This is one event.
In one event?
Yes.
Okay. I guess you can. It's and especially, I mean, the law can't be built otherwise. Otherwise, if you're going to sexually assault a child, sexually assault them numerous times, and you get punished just for one. That's not the way the law would be intended.
Yes.
The legislature would never have intended that to happen,
Yes.
or that to be an option. Each separate act of an assault sexually of a child carries with it its own separate punishment potential. Do you understand? Now, Mr. Vasquez says he's surprised. For whatever reason, he says he's surprised.
Okay.
Well, I'm more concerned about the defendant being intelligently being aware of what these options are in making these decisions to go forward.
He's not gone.
Well, then that's convoluted.
Understand. Understood. I just didn't have a note of it, and generally in these cases, that's what I ask for. As for stacking, I did not make the agreement. I'm just following through the argument.
So what do you say?
So I'm withdrawing the consecutive because I'm not going to put the defendant under something that he wasn't aware of. For the stay, I withdraw motions to run consecutive. Concur.
So what the court will do, based upon the state's representations, whatever sentence I assessed will run concurrently or at the same time. Do you understand? Have the parties had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence reports for each case? And are there any changes or corrections to it?
Not for the state, Your Honor.
Defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Page 1, the police court version.
Well, it's wait, the police court version, okay.
Of the event.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Carrillo did not flee. He was hanging around the site there and was identified by the child and the child's family who was all there saying, yes, there he is. That's Victor right there, and that's when he was arrested.
Okay. All right. I don't have a problem reading that into this, and it's not the fleeing that's of the court's concern. It's the acts that occurred to the child.
And the defendant's version, Your Honor, Mr. Carrillo it's been a couple of years ago. I believe he was trying to mimic what he told the detectives on his videotape confession that night when he confessed immediately. Although the act itself is of a very violent nature, he didn't want them to think he had physically hurt the girl with his hands or his fists. He knows she was underage, and he knows what he did was against the law.
Okay. He was 40, you were 43, and the child was 13. Correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And this event happened at a public place, Edison Museum?
They were working there, Judge. It wasn't open. They were doing some reconstruction.
Did it occur at the Edison Museum?
It did, yeah. It was after hours there were with a cleaning crew.
Notwithstanding still, it's not what that museum was intended for. And I think I went over, Mr. Carrillo, that a conviction in these types of cases can affect your ability to remain in the United States and also affect your ability to ever gain citizenship in the United States. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This report. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Essentially, he inserted his penis into the child's vagina in one count by penetrating her sexual organ, it is alleged, in cause number 38484 and in 38485. He orally sexually assaulted by contacting the sexual organ of the child with his mouth. Is all of that true, sir?
No.
That's what you
Yes.
pleaded. That's what you pleaded guilty to in 38485. This states in this indictment you pleaded guilty to. It states you intentionally and knowingly caused your mouth to contact the sexual organ of the child. That's what this says you pleaded guilty to. You did that under oath back on September 28th.
I only told them that I had touched her parts, her sexual parts, with my hand.
May I speak, Your Honor?
It also, but you also pleaded guilty, and you've said you inserted your penis into the child's vagina.
Y también usted se confesó culpable y dijo que había insertado su pene en la vagina de la menor.
That's what you pleaded guilty to, sir.
A esto se declaró usted culpable, señor.
Is that true or not, sir?
¿Es cierto? Yes, sir.
Sir, okay, all right. And you also apparently kissed her breasts. Is that true?
Yes, yes, sir.
So what about that? He's 38485 is stating that he did not, his mouth did not contact the sexual organ of the child. What do you want to do?
I thought he. May I speak, Your Honor?
Yes.
I thought he just said he did do that.
No, he just said his mouth touched the breasts,
Eh,
which is indecency with a child.
sí, I'm gonna ask you again.
That's see, I remember pleading guilty to that
¿Usted no se acuerda?
2 months ago.
Se
in court.
encontró culpable ante el tribunal hace 2 meses de que dice a usted dice, intencionalmente sabiendo con su boca tocar, entrar en contacto con el órgano sexual de Andrea Guadalupe Rodríguez, una menor que estaba teniendo 14 años. Yes, sir.
Is that true?
¿Es cierto?
What is that?
Yes, sir.
May I see what you're reading from? This is the indictment.
Yes, Your Honor.
of causing the defendant's mouth to contact the sexual organ of the child.
I read it, Your Honor.
And you have acknowledged, Mr. Carrillo, that is true in both cases, as the indictments read.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Defense, you may go first on what you suggest the appropriate remedy is in this situation.
Well, Judge, deferred adjudication is an option. I think Victor would do well on it. I think he could complete it. And I know it's what he wants. And he was entered the country in 2018 with a 6-month visa. And that's expired. But I don't see a immigration or customs hold on it right now. And Judge, given the fact that I know this court has sees many of these cases, this was a one-time thing. This unspeakable thing that he did. But to his credit, he confessed immediately. He confessed on video to the police detective with the aid of an interpreter. Within about 30 or 40 minutes of the interview. Because of that, Your Honor, if the court doesn't see fit to reward deferred adjudication, we would ask for something less than the 35 years. This was never a case that was going to trial. He confessed early on. He's been remorseful. He's been outcasted by his family and the child's families who were friends of his at the time. And he'll most probably be deported. But in lieu of in the alternative deferred adjudication, Your Honor, we ask for something like a 15-20-year sentence.
State.
Your Honor, we differ with the defense. Obviously, a probation in a case like this would be unconscionable. I think the court would agree. Also require an affirmative finding is to the best interest of the complainant. In this case, she was now 16 years old. The state would, first of all, first point is on page 1, defendant's version of the case. If you read the translation of his version, it would appear that the female 13-year-old consented, which she cannot do.
Understand.
So that is not taking responsibility for his actions. It's saying she knew what was going on, which is what he says. Now, which is appalling, and they can't consent. Now, his lack of criminal history here is irrelevant in a case like this, Judge. That one time is all that requires to ruin a 13-year-old and the 13-year-old family. And I would point to the attachment from the mother, Ms. Yesenia Lopez, a statement on the PSI, a statement sent to the court for you, Judge Stevens, to read. And I can read that out loud, or if the court has read it. Okay. I would point to that, how much this has affected that family, how much both her and the complaining witness are attend counseling, and they're constantly triggered. This is an event that will last with them forever. I want to take that into account, Judge, and we request that give, what this charge deserves, these two, the full amount, 35 years available in each case, run concurrent. But if we had more, I'd ask for more, but 35 is the max. And that's what this deserves.
All right. Now, then it's your turn, sir. Mr. Carrillo, what would you like to say?
Muy arrepentido de lo que hice. But I am very sorry for what I did. Me siento penado. Me siento triste por el daño que hice a la víctima. Ashamed. I feel sad for the harm I caused the victim. A la familia de mi familia. To her family and my family. Un matrimonio de 25 años que construí. Marriage that went 25 years, and it was good that we worked on it. I am remorseful and I am ashamed. That's all I would say.
These are some of the most serious types of cases. The taking forever away of a child's innocence, especially in instances where the child is not able to act responsibly as an adult because of their young age, and you are over 3 times her age, and you as an adult, as all adults, have to act responsibly when you are around children, because their innocence, once lost, is never regained. And a lifetime of a horrible experience haunts them. The letter written to the court from the victim's mother states that you took her daughter's innocence in a second, but she will have to live with that for the rest of her life. Both she and her daughter have to take therapy to help them get their life back together. All people, all adults have to be responsible in showing self-restraint around actions with children, especially sexual acts. And it's too bad that her first sexual experiences with you, who, as all adults, are held to being responsible for their actions. In this case, sir, you have pleaded guilty. In each of these cases, you pleaded guilty voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understand the consequences of pleading guilty in each case. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty pleas from State's Exhibit 1 admitted in each of these cases to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of these first-degree felonies of aggravated sexual assault of a child. I now find you guilty in each case of these first-degree felonies of aggravated assault of a child. I am following these agreements. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 35 years. On each case, those sentences shall run concurrently. You will be required to report as a sexual offender for the rest of your life. And those requirements are at least annually, but you are required to report. If you fail to properly report as the sexual offender, you can be prosecuted for additional charges of failing to report. Do you understand what has happened today, sir? Anything else
Yes, sir.
from either party? Make sure that he fills out the sex offender registration forms.
I believe he's done that prior.
If nothing, just verify it's done. If nothing further, then we are in recess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be back at 1 or 1:30. I see 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
And I think Kevin has one more case, Judge, that she was speaking with the interpreter.
Oh, well, are we ready?
I'm not sure.
Well, we're going to be ready or not. We got to,
Can I have his cases, Judge?
if you really want them.